you have a good idea, you might need to reread it. That's one of the reasons I made it so small, right? Such a small book, is because people who don't normally read a 100-page, 200-page book, they can pick this up and they can read it and they can get vital information that's going to help them to reach that next financial level in their life, right? That's one of the reasons I made it so small. You can go back and you can review it. That's why it's called your strategic guide to uplift and empower you to financial overflow. It didn't need to be 200 pages. It didn't need to be 125 pages. It needed to be a manual, something you can go back to, review, and make sure you're still on track. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Success Spectrum podcast, where we dive deep into the world of finance, entrepreneurship, and personal development. I'm your host, Kadeem McLean, and today I really just want to talk to you about the book, Wings of Abundance. Now, this isn't about selling this to you, but this is about letting you know some of the information that's in here so that you know when you do purchase it, some of the information you're going to be getting. That first chapter, what we talk about unveiling the hidden truths of financial mastery. And some of them you know already, such as budgeting, right? We also talk about emergency funds and that financial map, which I've mentioned before, which is at the end of the day, you need to know 2 points. For any goal, for any destination you want to reach, you need to know 2 points. One, of course, is that goal in terms of where you want to go, that destination. But the first point, really, that next point, is where you currently are. How do you determine where you are financially? That's what a budget is for. And a lot of us, for some reason, we puff out our chests and think that we're above doing a budget and we're better than that for whatever reason, when in actuality, HP, Amazon, Walmart, Costco, these big corporations, Apple, Google, they do a quarterly, annual financial assessment. Twice a year, once a year, 4 times a year, they do a financial assessment. Us, individually, we need to do it regularly as well. Because if you don't, how do you know if you're making progress towards that goal? How do you know where you stand financially if you don't do a budget and you don't do it regularly? If you did one last year, great, you need to do one again. If you did one 3 months ago, great, you need to do one again. Because if you don't keep up with it, you don't know if you're making progress or if you're regressing, because you're not measuring it. A target, or rather a goal that's not measured, how do you know if you're getting closer to the goal? You don't, right? Emergency funds, what is that needed for? Again, those emergency situations. And again, that financial map, you need to know those 2 points. All right. So that's what we talk about in that first chapter. The second chapter, really, we talk about mindset. We talk about the importance of your attitude. What is your attitude towards money, towards finances? We talk about the importance of discipline, which is required in any goal. You need to have discipline to be able to accomplish whatever goal you set in place. And we talk about a willingness to learn, right? So we're more so breaking down the mindset required to be able to reach your financial goals, not the ones, not mine, your financial goals that you have for yourself. And we're just laying the framework for that. So chapter 3, we talk about going from debt to victory. What kind of debts do you have? What situation are you in? Do you have a strategy to work yourself out of that debt and to step into a sense of financial security instead of that financial insecurity that you're in when you have debt? I had a client reach out to me and they said, Kadeem, I need to sit with you. And I said, okay, great, let's sit down. So we sat down, we went over everything, and it turned out that that person was in a good amount of debt. And they came to me for a strategy on how to get out of debt. So I broke it down. I said, okay, here's step 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? And we're going to meet up regularly, of course, and make sure we're on track and we're taking the right steps. Let's cover step 1 first. I told you what the breakdown is, but let's come back so we can review step 2 before we do it. Some of those strategies I shared with that individual are literally in this book for you. Some of those strategies are in this book. So again, if you're in a similar situation, you're in debt and you're feeling uncomfortable sharing that information with others or whatever the case might be, you feel a sense of financial insecurity, there's some strategies in this book that can help you get out of that. And now, a word from our sponsor. Do you have a child in your life who loves to color? A niece, a nephew, a son, a daughter, a neighbor? Remember when we grew up, we did A for apple, B for banana, and so on? There's something new in town. It's going to change generations financially. It's called Money Magic, ABC. This is a financial coloring book. They get fun pictures to draw, to color in. But instead of A for apple, we got A for asset. We got B for budget. We got C for crowdfunding. This is going to, while they're enjoying themselves, teach them the financial terms that we didn't know growing up. The financial terms that some of us still don't know. Financial literacy is key and vital. And instead of learning A for Apple, learning A for asset at such a young age, it's going to change their financial mindset into the future. They'll be able to start off ahead of the ball, right? Ahead of the game. So go ahead and get yourself a copy and give this gift. Give the gift of financial literacy to your children and the children in your life today. Go ahead and click that link in the description and get yourself a copy. Step 4, turning theory into triumph. And what this is referring to is that application. We've all heard it growing up and throughout our lives. Knowledge is power. And more recently, we've been hearing the truth, which is knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. And I would add to that, applied knowledge with consistency and a defined goal is power. Because if you get knowledge and you just apply it without really knowing what you're doing, where you're headed, you're going to stop. You're going to do it inconsistently, and it's not going to get you anywhere. In order for these things to work for you financially, you got to have some consistency in your life. You got to be consistent with it. Putting $200 down this month or this paycheck is good, but it's not going to get you anywhere if you don't stick to doing that every paycheck, right? Over time, if you do it every paycheck, it'll get you somewhere. But if you just do it inconsistently once or twice a year, it's not going to get you anywhere, right? It's about that compound effect, that compound interest. And our actions compound, so do our finances. Number 5, we talk about evil money. Because, again, me personally, and I'm sure it might be the same for you, growing up, I always heard money is evil. Money is the root of all evil. You know, people like to quote the Bible. However, we kind of dive into, in chapter 5, the breakdown of that. Why do people say that? Where does it come from? Is it true, right? Is money really a gauge to how evil somebody is? Because at the end of the day, if it is, we're all evil because we live in capitalism. We need to make a certain amount of money to be able to provide a roof over our heads, get food, get to certain destinations, drive a car, have a cell phone, internet, and so on. We need to make a certain amount of money to be able to do these things. So we are all at least a little bit evil in terms of that mindset, if money really is evil. And that just means those who have more money are more evil, right? I know it sounds strange you listening to that because it's not the truth, but we kind of dive into that in chapter 5. Chapter 6, we talk about generational wealth. Generational wealth. It could not be a book on finances if we do not talk about generational wealth. We talk about some strategies and tools that you can implement to get you to that generational wealth. A lot of people pass on debts, unfortunately. They think that when they pass away, their debts are gone and they're forgiven. That is not how it works. Unfortunately, your debts pass on to your next of kin, to your loved ones. So instead of passing on debts, we can actually pass on assets. We can create generational wealth. We talk about some of the tips and tools and strategies to be able to do that in chapter 6. Chapter 7, we talk about mastering your money moves. Because after hearing all of this information or reading all this information from chapters 1 through 6, you have a good idea, or you should hopefully have a good idea. You might need to reread it. That's one of the reasons I made it so small, right? Such a small book is because people who don't normally read a 100-page, 200-page book, they can pick this up and they can read it and they can get vital information that's going to help them to reach that next financial level in their life, right? That's one of the reasons I made it so small. You can go back and you can review it. That's why it's called your strategic guide to uplift and empower you to financial overflow. It didn't need to be 200 pages. It didn't need to be 125 pages. It needed to be a manual, something you can go back to, review, and make sure you're still on track. But all the information from chapters 1 through 6, you can come up with a strategy because no two strategies are the same. No two circumstances financially are the same. I have a completely different financial situation compared to you, right? So if there's person A and person B, person A might feel comfortable and it might be a good strategy for them to put $200 away into this account. And it's going to help them to achieve their financial goals. Person B, they might say, you know what? I'm going to put 150 over here and I'm going to put another 50 into this account. And that's going to work for them. Similar situations or circumstances, but different strategies. And each strategy works for that individual. Person A is okay and person B is okay. What I'm getting at is when we talk about mastering your money moves, whatever strategy you come up with, it's about sticking to that strategy. Stick to it and refine it as you go. Because again, we talk about that financial map. Your destination financially probably won't remain the same. it'll probably change as you get closer or achieve that financial goal that you have, that financial destination. It's going to change, right? And if it does change, guess what? You now need to alter your strategy because you're now going to a different level compared to where you were aiming before. So mastering your money moves, yes, always learn, always grow, always, again, take a look at your strategy and see what you need to refine, what you need to alter, what you need to change. And again, the most important piece here is take action and be consistent so that you can master your money move. There's a bonus section. And in this bonus section, some of the things we talk about are your USP. We talk about entrepreneurship, USP being your unique selling proposition, the gifts that you have, the things that you love to do and you do so well that one, you might not even realize it, and two, you do it so well and so easily, but other people might find it difficult to do. That's your USP, your unique selling proposition or your gift, right? For me, for example, I'm a coach. It's what I do, right? You can talk about it in the financial realm, you talk about it in terms of entrepreneurship. I'm a coach. It's what I do, right? I'm very detail oriented and I can see certain patterns and gaps that people have, right? Myself included. Now, I have a business where I utilize that to help people get to where they're going in terms of their financial goals or their entrepreneurship journey, their entrepreneurship goals and their self-development goals, their personal goals, right? So in the bonus section, we kind of break that down and to say, okay, well, if this is something you like to do, what can you do to make yourself some more income? Because the rest of the book, we're talking about how you can utilize your current income. Meanwhile, there's some sprinkles of some strategies you can utilize to get extra income. But this one in the bonus section, we're talking about that entrepreneurship journey in terms of how you can utilize your gifts specifically to build another income. All right. So that is in a quick nutshell, Wings of Abundance. Right. And again, this might be for you. And I believe everybody could benefit from it. But at the end of the day, this is something that even teenagers could read. So again, it is the holiday season. Pick up a copy, give it to your niece, your nephew, your son, your daughter, because they could read it. It's in very simple language and they can gain something from it, right? And at the end of the day, you could read it and you can gain something from it. So this isn't again about me selling in these copies to you. This is about me knowing what information is in this book and knowing how it could potentially help you or your loved ones get to where you want to go. All right. Kadeem here. Stay happy, stay healthy, and stay blessed.